Hi guys, so today's success block, we're going to be reviewing compare and contrast two texts. This is something that we've done in the previous weeks in class. We had our CMA and we had some good, some not so good, and some bad. So we're going to review comparing and contrasting two texts. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. So today we're going to compare and contrast two texts. The picture in front of you that you see is a Venn diagram. Oh, but before we get started, let's watch our vocabulary video on compare and contrast two texts.
Vocabulary. We're comparing and contrasting. Everybody's doing it. In fact, we do it all the time. We compare and contrast when we're in the store deciding what cereal to buy. We compare and contrast when we pick up what movie to see or what player we want for our fantasy football league. I'll break it down for you. Comparing and contrasting, get with it. That's when you think how things are similar and different. When I compare things, I talk about how they're the same. When I contrast, it's the differences that I name. I analyze how they're similar and different. I look at them close. Yeah, I get specific. I compare and contrast two books, three foods, two unicorn dudes named Hokey and Stu. Yeah, that's how we do. But what's even wiser, before I write, I'ma use a graphic organizer, a Venn diagram. Yeah, I'll show you that. I just draw two circles that overlap. In the middle, I write whatever's the same, just list the differences in the other spaces. With three things to compare, what should I do then? I could add a third circle, so then let's get it in. I compare when I say how things are similar, like doll houses and ponies, both miniature. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it? I compare when I say how things are similar or the same. Yeah, I bet that sounds so familiar. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it? Okay, I have to write an essay. Here's the prompt. Would you rather be a wolf or a domesticated dog? Domesticated dog is like a pet. I'ma compare and contrast. That'll help me pick. I use transition words to help my readers know that I'm comparing and contrasting. Here we go. First, I'll compare how they're the same. Both have fur coats for the wind, snow, and rain. Domesticated dogs love to play together. Similarly, both puppies will play in any weather. Pet dogs have paws, wolves do as well. Likewise, they both will eat meat. Can you tell? To see how they're different, let's contrast. Most wolves have longer teeth, and that's a fact. If a wolf gets sick, there's no medicine. In contrast, pets go to the vet. They let them in. Domesticated dogs don't worry about food. They get fed in a bowl. I bet they love it too. Unlike a wolf, which has to hunt, and if it can't find much food, they go hungry for months. A wolf can run free, do anything it pleases, while domesticated doggies are tied up with leashes. So while I might like to be a pet dog for a while, I want to be free. That's the call of the wild. I compare when I say how things are similar, like doll houses and ponies, both miniature. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it? I compare when I say how things are similar or the same. Yeah, I bet that sounds so familiar. I contrast when I say how things are different, give examples and get specific. You get it?
Okay. So that's our vocabulary video on comparing and contrasting. Now let's get back to the Nearpod. Okay, so like I said, we're going to compare and contrast. You see the Venn diagram, you see that the two circles talk about how things are different, and the one in the middle talks about how it's alike. So, it says, when you compare two texts, you tell how they are alike. When you contrast texts, you tell how they are different. So when we compare, we tell how they're alike. When we contrast, we tell how they're different. I'm going to display two texts for you. One comes from the Moths and Butterflies book, and the other comes from the Worm book, which you are familiar with. I pre-recorded this, so let's hear what the reading says about these two books.
Lots of butterflies and moths end up being eaten by predators. A butterfly might be grabbed by a mouse, a lizard, or a frog. It might be snatched in flight by a hungry bird. Even moths are not safe at night. Bats are good at catching them. Some moths have ears on their bodies to listen for bats. A few moths have another trick. They have a special organ that makes a clicking noise to confuse a bat while the moth escapes. The caption for the pictures in this on this page says, a praying mantis may hide near flowers, waiting to ambush an unlucky butterfly. The next title is on the next page is entitled Enemies. Worms have many enemies, such as hedgehogs and shrews. Both of these animals are active at night when worms come out and feed.
Okay, so let's go back to our questions. And on the next two slides, you're going to go in and fill in what we talk about on this slide. So if you want, you can pause the video and go back and forth between the video and the slide where you have to fill in the questions. So it says, what are the same about these two pictures? Let's take a look at the two pictures. What do we notice is the same about the two pictures? I'll give you some time to look at the two pictures. Okay, I see that both pictures show an animal being eaten. You see that? This picture shows an animal being eaten, and the other one shows an animal being eaten. That is one way the pictures are the same. But how they're different. One is a photograph and the other one is a drawing. So this is how they're different. So this is a real life photograph of a praying mantis eating, and this one is a drawing of a worm being eaten. Do we all see that? Okay, let's look at the two texts. Let's look at the next two questions. Well, before we do, and I want to show you guys this, you need to come here and with the text feature, write how they are different. They're different because they both show an animal being eaten. They're both the same because they show an animal being eaten. What is different about the pictures? One picture is a photograph and the other is a drawing. Let's look at our next two questions. In what ways are the words the same? In what ways are they different? I'm going to give you some time, and I know these words are kind of small, So if you don't see if you can't really see them, see if you can make the slide big. And I'm going to pause for a moment to give you guys time to see how the wording in one passage is the same and how it's different. Okay, let's go back. So, both texts tell how some predators are active at night. This is one way the texts are the same. Now, how they are different. Each page tells about different animals that are predators. This is how they are different. So now you're going to go over to the slide and put how they are the same. They both talk about predators are active at night. And the second one says that they are talking about different animals. Okay? So, all right, so let's read this at the bottom. When you compare and contrast texts about the same topic, you learn more about the topic. You also notice different ways that two authors can describe the same topic. Comparing texts on the same topic makes me think about both authors. Choose why did one use a pair of photograph and the other use an illustration. Why did one tell just one detail and the other tell more? Asking and answering questions makes me good and active reader. So when we think about these two, what are some things we can come up with on why they may have showed a real picture of the praying mantis and a cartoon picture or a drawing of the other one? Well, I don't know if you guys remember from our story on worms, but this animal is underground. It's probably hard to get a picture of this animal eating underground, right? So these kind of, remember when we did that section on asking and answering questions? Sometimes when we ask and answer questions about a text and a picture, it can help us get a deeper understanding of the text. So now you're going to go ahead and fill in the questions here. And make sure that you write complete sentences. Make sure that it is neat. If you're using the text feature, make sure that it is small enough and it is not overlapping the other words. Remember, this is your grade, so you want to do your best. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.